are going to get started with a warm-up. We're going to start off with some breathing exercises to reconnect the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. That is going to help to reconnect the core. Your diaphragm and your pelvic floor are a team. They work together like an elevator. So when you inhale and your diaphragm moves down, your pelvic floor should move down as well. And when you exhale, your pelvic floor moves up, and so does your diaphragm. During pregnancy, your rib cage widens and the diaphragm naturally flattens out, and it loses that mobility of moving up and down. Bump takes up a lot of space, all that sort of stuff. So when we are trying to get that relationship or that connection going again, it's really important that we're focusing on big breaths down and big exhales up, so that we're getting that diaphragm moving up and down, and we're getting that pelvic floor moving up and down. The way I think of this is like doing a bicep curl every time you, because we can't see our pelvic floor, so it's hard to visualize. So if I was to inhale and lift my pelvic floor up, and exhale, drop my bicep down. Basically, it's doing a bicep curl for your pelvic floor every time you breathe, which is going to start to bring that tone back to it. And then we can layer on stuff like adductors, glutes, impact, longer endurance squeezes, and that's going to help to overall improve the pelvic floor. So starting off, we are going to start off on our back. If you have a chair, I would encourage you to put your heels up in the 90-90 position. So basically, this is just going to help us to sort of figure our pelvis. Our legs can come heavy here into the sockets, and it's just really, really nice. It also prevents you from activating your hip flexors or your glutes as you're doing this breathing. I know this sounds really boring because we're talking about breathing, and sure, everybody breathes, we're walking around breathing all day, but nailing this is going to speed up your postpartum recovery so much. We have a couple of different options when it comes to breathing. We can do feet up breathing like this. We can activate the hamstrings, use a little bit of a pelvic tilt to really engage the front of the pelvic floor. We can do some back body breathing. We can do some side body breathing. And all of that is just bringing that 360 breath in. So I really like to start on the ground. Again, bring your feet up if you need to. And you're just going to focus on really solid inhales. So we're going to inhale and then exhale. Lift that pelvic floor. You're think about bringing in two sides of high-waisted jeans and zipping up the middle. Inhale all the way and relax, and then exhale. So your hands can kind of go two places here. You can bring it down onto your low abs. This is going to help you to feel that emptying from the bottom up. So as I inhale in, I'm inhaling into my rib cage. I'm not inhaling down into my belly. And then as I exhale, that's the first part of my body to flatten, because that's where I'm exhaling from the bottom up. And then inhaling again. If I'm not sure if I'm inhaling into my ribs, I can bring my hands to my ribs. Feel that expansion, and then exhale. I should feel my ribs going back in and down. All the time, I'm not tilting my pelvis here. And I'm trying to be really light with my glutes and my hip flexors. So I'm going to go through a round of breathing, and I'm just going to explain what we want from the legs. So when you're inhaling in, there's nothing here in the glutes. Glutes are nice and squishy, so are hip flexors. You can give them a good shake and see them wibbling. And then exhale. Same thing. If we exhale and we tilt the pelvis or we squeeze the glutes, we're generating too much tension in the pelvic floor, and that might leave you with hypertonic pelvic floor, leaking, all that sort of stuff, prolapse symptoms. So what we want to do is try and minimize the tension we are doing. Just let the pelvic floor and the core do the work. Inhale, relax, exhale, contract. We're going to do one more breath. If you draw out your exhale as well, you're getting a slightly longer contraction, and that's bringing the endurance into your pelvic floor. When you're ready, you're going to flip it over and go sideline. Bring that bottom leg out straight, bring that top leg down onto the ground, and you're going to draw a big circle all the way around. If this feels too hard, if shoulder mobility isn't great, you can always do the open book just without the windmilly sort of action. So you're just lying here, keep the knee in contact with the ground. You're going to reach all the way over, head follows hand, reach all the way over to the other side. We're going to do 5 of these. And this is helping to get those ribs mobile, and it's helping to get that body, the breath working as well. I do 1 more, and we're going to flip it over and do 5 on the other side. And these don't have to be just workout stretches. These can be everyday stretches as well. Just checking in and seeing, particularly if you're feeding, if you're up at night, carrying baby. These are lovely stretches to be doing throughout the day. 4, 5. The next thing we are going to come into is some dynamic hamstrings. So ideally what we are doing in this position is we are getting down into our deep squat. This is going to help to stretch the back of the pelvic floor, allow us to breathe into our back. So we're inhaling down here, and then we're going to exhale, lift those hips all the way back up, and then you're coming back down, inhale. So we're stretching the back of that pelvic floor. Exhale, come all the way back up. If you struggle to make this dynamic, or you struggle to get into this body position, what I want you to do is use something, doors are great for this, but you can even use something like a wall or a step on the stairs, banister, something like that. Sit into this bottom position, breathe into that back. And then you can lift the hips if you need to. Come all the way back down again. So you have something to hold on to here that's you're not going to fall over. And it's easy then for you to push into this and bring those hips up. You don't have to get as low to the ground. You don't need that mobility through the hip and through the hamstrings. We are going to go for 10 of these. So say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one is 10. So next up we are going to come into another T-spine rotation. So it's all about getting that rib cage moving, keeping that rotation in the body. This is going to help to stretch out the chest, and it's going to be great for the breathing. I want you to come up onto all fours, step up into like a low lunge. You can drop your hips down here if you like, so you're getting a little bit of a stretch through the glutes and through the hip socket. Bring that elbow down towards the floor. Rotate up towards the ceiling. If you can't reach down towards the floor, don't worry about it. Or if you can't reach the floor, don't worry about it. Just keep reaching towards the floor, and you'll get there as you improve that mobility. You're bringing that foot back, bring up the opposite foot, elbow down, rotate up towards the ceiling, hand back down, bring the knee back, and then you're going to tuck those toes and come into your downward dog. And then when you're ready, you're coming back onto your knees, foot up, elbow down, rotate, back down, elbow down, rotate. We are going to do 5 of these. So it's 1 rotation on each side plus 1 downward dog is 1 rep. Elbow down, rotate, hand back down, elbow down, rotate, hand back down. Elbow down, rotate. We're trying to get as much, stack the shoulders over each other as much as you can. You get a little bit of a twist through the hips as well. Come all the way back down. Step it up. Rotate. I think this is the last one. I lost count. Elbow down. Rotate. And then tuck those toes under into your downward dog. So we're basically stretching out everything there and working on that little bit of mobility with the downward dog, coming back into that all fours where we're getting a little bit of that core engagement too. The last thing we are going to do here is banded squats with ins and outs. So ins and outs are the sort of easy way to remember them. Banded squats, you want to go band up over the knees. Here we want to be really active when we go into that squat. So we're not letting the knees fall in. We're pushing against that band. We're getting those glutes working. If you don't have a band, you can do this body weight, but it's so much more effective when you do have a band. These are cheap as chips. Get them off of RPM, use Fit Mná 10 for discount code. I don't get a kickback, but if it makes it easier for you to get your exercise in with bands, do it. So we are into banded squats. Inhale on the way down, exhale, come back up. Inhale on the way down, exhale, come back up. We want to think about scooping that belly or zipping up those high-waisted jeans when we come up, and we're stacking those ribs over hips. You want to think about growing tall. So the best way to avoid ab gripping is think about growing tall, okay? So inhale on the way down, exhale, 3, 4, grow tall, 5, 6, 7, just go as low as feels comfortable, 8, 9, and 10. And then we're coming into our ins and outs. So we lose this ability to internally rotate this leg as pregnancy progresses. The shape of the pelvis changes as the inlet opens to accommodate baby moving down and stuff like that. So we need to be really mindful that we're working full range of motion here and we're pulling it all the way back out. We are going to do 1990s, so you're going to do 10 of these. We're going to do 1990s in the mobility days to try and improve this internal external rotation. So we're going to say 5, 6, 7 all the time. This knee is staying completely still. It's pulling against the band as well. 8, 9 and 10. And then we're holding this one and we're doing 10 on this side. 1, don't worry about the breathing here, just breathe normally. 3, 4, 5, make sure you're getting that really big range of motion. Keep the heel on the floor. 6, 7, pull against this band on this opposite side. 9 and 10. Whew, the glutes, they're definitely awake. Start off with some core. I want you to grab a yoga block, child's ball, a cushion, a pillow, anything really works. Ideally, we'd all have like Pilates balls and it'd be lovely, but we need to work with what we got at home. Basically, what we are going to do here is we're coming into this all fours position. What I want you to focus on is making sure the knees are stacked underneath the hips and that your shoulder is over your wrist. But as well, we want to make sure that we're not arching that back down or into that sort of cat position. But we want to have the core engaged. So imagine there's like a floaty birth ball underneath you or something, and you don't want to touch that. From here, we are going to inhale into those ribs and we're going to exhale, press down, lift a hand. Inhale, come back. Exhale, press down, lift a hand. So all we are doing here, that press down is getting us to engage those upper abs a little bit more. As we reach this hand away, we need to keep the ribs level. The exhale is helping to engage from the bottom up. So really we're working a couple of aspects, a couple of angles of the core for this one. We're going to go for 5 on each side. So make sure you get nice and, it might be better if I do it with this med ball because you can see the squish down on it then. It's just a little bit higher, so it's not really ideal. Okay, so relax and then we're going to exhale. Inhale, come back, relax. Each time you inhale, focus on relaxing the core. So you'll see when I exhale and engage, when I inhale and relax, okay? So, 4 and 5. If you need to, you can make this a tiny bit harder by lifting that opposite leg. So when I push down, I'm doing a sort of elevated push down bird dog. So we are going to do 3 more. And again, something smaller is slightly easier because you're not all the way up here and you can squish it right down, but it's good to get that all aspects of the core working. Second move we are going to do here is our side plank. So we are coming into side plank here. So we're bringing that knee, hip, shoulder in line. We're pushing through here. We're going to exhale. When we inhale, we're inhaling into the ribs. Making sure those ribs are coming in and down. We are holding for 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Come back down. We are just starting off really gently for these first few weeks, making sure that you're getting that proper connection, and then we are going to push on and, you know, progress with weights, intensity, all of that good stuff. 3, 2, 1. Come all the way down. If you find the 10 seconds is too easy, you can bring the feet out, stack them one in front of the other, or you can simply just add time here. So there's plenty of opportunity for you to pause the video, do the extra bit of work, and then come back. We are back into our bird dog. So we are going to relax, exhale and press. Gonna go for one more. The slower you go with these exercises, the harder they are. So don't worry about moving on too quickly, or don't worry about taking your time with these. The slower you go, the harder the core has to work. Inhale into the ribs again. Exhale. Push down. Three, 4, 5. So essentially here you're working the front of the core for your bird dog, the sides of your core for your side plank, and we've got a few other things to work all the other sides. So up, holding for 10 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Maybe you start off on the first week with 2 sets of everything. We're going to do 3 sets of this. And the second week you maybe add in 3 sets of the core, 2 sets of the strength stuff. You can build up the program yourself that way, so that you're not straight off the bat feeling very sore, or, you know, can't do it. Make it doable for yourself. And come all the way back down. Equally, if you need to rest in between these 2 core exercises, do. We're not going to spend all of the time on the mat. We are going to get up and get moving now with some strength stuff and some conditioning. So we are going to inhale into the ribs. 3, 4, 5, and then we are changing sides. So ideally, from the inhale to the exhale, the back doesn't change, nor does the pelvis or the rib angle. And by that I mean we're not opening our rib angle on an inhale, and we're not crunching it up on an exhale. We can still think about that long body position. 3, 4, 5. And last set of our side planks. So we're coming down onto our elbow. I always forget to check my watch and see what time I started at. 3, 2, 1. And if you are have been doing some postpartum work, rehab work, and these side planks feel really easy, drop me an email. I'll give you some harder variations to do. Because we need to keep progressing the strength work. If we stay doing the easy stuff, we'll never get stronger. And then we might see actually regression and some like prolapse symptoms or leaking or whatever rearing its head again. So first thing we are going to do is a squat. So I'm going to use a chair for this, just so we can all be of the same sort of mind of what we're doing. Exhale, come all the way back up. If this feels very easy, you're more than welcome to freestanding squat, which is without the chair. Inhale on the way down, exhale, come all the way back up. We are going to bring a weight to the center of the chest here, and I want you to be mindful, but also don't be too conservative. So when we think about babies being born in the hospital, they're weighing like 3 kilos, okay, as a newborn, 3-4 kilos. So then when we think about if we have got older kids or toddlers, or, you know, even if we're many years postpartum, we're stronger than we think, okay? So don't be too conservative with your weights, but also be mindful. If you're doing the squat to the chair, you're going to start off with feet just over hip width apart. You're going to inhale on the way down, exhale, come all the way back up. Again, we're thinking about zipping up this high-waisted jeans when we come up. We're thinking about stacking those ribs over hips and growing long in the body, okay? Inhale on the way down. We're going to go for 8 of these. 3, 4. If you're doing the freestanding squat, squat as low as feels comfortable. Again, we're looking for that stacked position. We don't need to tuck and squeeze our glutes, okay? 5, 6, 7, 8. Second move we are going for is our glute bridge. So we're coming down onto the ground here, and we're going to talk about the setup first. We want to tuck that pelvis slightly. So we're engaging those lower abs. We're keeping the pelvis and the ribs connected. From here, you can place your hands down here if you like, or use them as feedback as you go. We want to squeeze the glutes at the bottom, and then we're pushing up into that glute bridge. We're keeping those glutes squeezed. Come down. Exhale, press up. Inhale, come all the way back down. One of the big things I see is that people rock the pelvis down the bottom. We want to keep the connection. So we're not stretching the core here. We're thinking ribs and pelvis connected. Exhale, press up. Inhale, come all the way back down. Inhale, come all the way back down. Sometimes I see knees wobbling in and out. That's just the glutes working. You can bring a block between your knees and do an adductor squeeze. We are going to cover that as well. So you've loads of options here. So squeeze glutes. We're going to go for 10, 2, 3. Just touch. Come back up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to come all the way back up, and we're going to go back to that squat. We're going to do 3 sets of these. Let me check my timing. Okay, so I need to spoke it on a little bit if we're going to get a stretch in, a bit of conditioning and a stretch in. So we're inhaling on the way down. Think nice and tall. 3, 4, 5. Keep using the chair if you need to. 6, 7, 8. And then we are into our glute bridge. So again, you can do these body weight if you need to, the squats. Most of this needs very little equipment. But again, we want to think about progressive overload. So you're going to need equipment at some stage. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep the ribs and hips connected. 8. Keep squeezing glutes. 9, 10. I'm starting to get sweaty now. Okay. And let me know how you find the pace of these exercises. I'm trying to be purposefully slow and mindful so that you're getting the connection stuff and we're not just rushing through it. So back to our squat, inhale on the way down, exhale, come back up. 2, keep pushing those knees out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And back into our glute bridge. I'm trying to be mindful of where I go on the mat so that you can see me. I roughly know the borders. The borders. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So definitely the 2 areas that need the most work postpartum are your core and your posterior chain. So your glutes are the biggest part of that posterior chain, and we want to make sure that they are really strong because they tie into the pelvic floor and they're going to help to support that pelvic floor and the core as well, I suppose. Now we are into we're going to do 3 rounds. We are going to do 10 on each side. 10 on each side, 10 in total for some of them. I'm just looking at my notes here in front of me. We're starting off with a ground to overhead. What I want you to focus on here is not necessarily touching the ground, but we want to get a really solid hinge. So I don't want to see any rounded backs. You're going to hinge towards the floor. You don't need to touch the floor, and then we're up into that overhead position. We are thinking about keeping those ribs stacked over hips. This can be kind of hard to get the hang of, so if you need to, do it body weight and focus on making sure the ribs are staying down and the core is in a nice stacked position, ribs over hips, okay? And then you can add in weight or go lightweight and then add in a little bit of weight. But I want to give you something to finish on that's a little bit sweaty and feels a little bit good. So we're going to do 3 sets of this. So you 3 to 5 sets of this, we can build it up over the 4 weeks. So with your ground to overhead, hinge the hips all the way back. We're going for 10 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and working with the breath. Working that really big exhale. 9, 10. Then we are going to come into a reverse lunge. So I just want you to focus on stepping back like train tracks, not like a tightrope, changing legs, okay? Keep that forward lean. It's going to help to keep the ribs stacked over hips. Inhale as you step back. Exhale, come all the way up. 2, 3, we're going for 10 in total. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Last one is a carry and march. So you can do this a couple of ways. You can do like traditional car seat carry, and then we're marching those knees all the way up. And you're going to go for 10 on each side, or you can bring it into a racked carry and you're going for 10 on each side. I always think this is like carrying a baby over your shoulder, walking up the stairs, and this is like the car seat, so it's up to yourself. I'm going to go for the racked carry. We're going to go for 10 on each side. 1, 2, 3, keep those ribs down. 4, 5, bring the knee up as high as you can, keep active with the foot. 8, 9, 10, and then we're going to change sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the whole aim here is that we are not going this way or this way. We're keeping the ribs stacked over hips. So we're working on that alignment. I sound like a broken record, but it's honestly the stuff that you keep on working throughout the 12 weeks, and then I'll cue it less as we go along. So stack those ribs over hips, hinge the hips all the way back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Into a reverse lunge, stepping back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just looking at how funky my left or my right knee is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hands out to the side for balance. 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're changing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we are back to our ground to overhead. Okay, last set of these. Okay. 1. Inhale. 2, 3. Keep that alignment. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one. 10. And it's really nice to work up a bit of a sweat. Know that you're doing it in a safe way. So I like doing the sort of conditioning at the end. 4, 5, better stop talking and counting. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And last time we're going for that racked march. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we are going to finish on a really quick stretch. You're going to come back down to your all fours. We're going to work on a little bit more spine mobility here. So you're bringing wrists down, roll that back all the way up. Come all the way back down. So yes, we want to work on that alignment, keep stacking ribs over hips, but we want to be able to move the spine as well. When we get stuck in one position, that's when we get back pain and pelvic girdle pain and all that sort of stuff. Inhale, come down. Exhale, press up. Inhale, come down. Thank you for moving with me today. Any questions, let me know, and I will see you in the live class.